Picking eighth is the New York Knicks.
All right.
On August 20th, Knicks fans worldwide were extremely disappointed when yet again they fell back in the draft lottery. For some reason, the Knicks just have incredibly bad luck. The Knicks haven't moved up in the draft lottery since they got the #1 pick and landed Patrick Ewing back in 1985. The Knicks also don't do themselves any favors by winning games at the end of the season, which always ends up making their draft position worse. Social media was also extremely brutal to Knicks fans after they fell back to the 8th pick. Even NBA players like De'Aaron Fox was clowning the Knicks after they fell back. I know you're upset, but cheer up, Knicks fans. This isn't the end of the world. Yes, falling to the #8 pick means they'll be drafting too low to get the top prospects like LaMelo Ball or Anthony Edwards. But the Knicks will still be in position to add a player that'll be a great addition to their young nucleus. Back in May, the Knicks hired Walt Perrin, who helped the Utah Jazz to draft great players outside of the top 5, including Gordon Hayward at #9. With that history, Knicks fans should trust that Walt Perrin will find the excellent player at the #8 pick. Based on the scouting I've done for the past year, I've identified a couple of players that I think should be on the Knicks wish list come draft night, and in this video, I will explain. But before we continue, if you like videos like this, please like and subscribe as your support helps me to make more dope videos. Now let's continue. For the Knicks, there's two main players that I think they should look at with their 8th pick, and that's Killian Hayes and Kira Lewis Jr. The Knicks desperately need a point guard, so I think they should address this position with their lottery pick. I'm going to break down their games and explain why the Knicks should draft these players, and afterwards, I will also name some honorable mentions. The #1 player that I think the Knicks should hope to get at #8 is Killian Hayes. If by some miracle Hayes is still there, the Knicks should take it without question. Killian Hayes is a high-level point guard that's going to be able to start and contribute right away, while also having the upside to become an all-star level player. He's got great positional size for the point guard position at 6'5" with a 6'8" wingspan. Killian Hayes has many of the skills that NBA point guards need. He has a really nice handle that he can use to break down defenders and create his own shot. He finishes really well at the hoop, but the most important skill that he brings at the next level is his exceptional playmaking ability. Hayes is easily the best playmaking guard in this draft right after LaMelo Ball. He has great court vision and he's able to use it to find his teammates with incredibly accurate passes. He's a good facilitator out the pick and roll, and he's always looking to set up the roll man. Hayes' playmaking ability is reflected in his stats because according to Basketball Reference, in 10 games for his team in EuroCup, he averaged an impressive 8.3 assists a game per 36 minutes. Hayes isn't very explosive, but he's still able to get to the rim at will thanks to his craftiness and slick handle. He's got crossovers and other off-the-dribble moves to break down his man. He doesn't have great hops, so he doesn't finish above the rim a lot, but he's a good below-the-rim finisher. He's got a really nice floater that he likes to go to, and he's got good touch at the rim on his layups. Hayes gets a lot of his shots at the rim out of the pick and roll, where he shoots 64% at the basket as a pick and roll ball handler. This is an incredibly high percentage for an 18-year-old point guard. Hayes is also a really good shooter off the dribble, which enhances his pick and roll game. He can knock down the pull-up 3 if the defender goes under, and he can also knock it down in the mid-range. Defensively, Hayes is also pretty solid. With his good size at 6'5", Hayes should be able to defend both guard positions in the NBA. He doesn't have great lateral quickness, so he isn't a great on-ball defender, but thanks to his high motor and basketball IQ, he's a good off-ball defender. He plays the passing lanes really well, and as a result, he racks up steals, averaging 1.4 steals a game for his team in Germany in just 24 minutes of play. Due to his physical limitations, I don't expect him to ever be a lockdown defender like Jrue Holiday, but he can be a legitimate two-way player at the NBA level. Hayes' main weakness is his right hand. He's much better at shooting from the left than from the right. He needs to improve his right hand, otherwise teams will exploit his left hand dominance. He also needs to improve as a shooter. Hayes only shot 22% from 3 for his team in Germany, but he also did shoot 85% from the free throw line. His shooting from the free throw line and good touch suggests that his three-point shooting will improve. Overall, I think Killian Hayes will be a godsend for the Knicks if he's still there at number 8. RJ Barrett was good his rookie year, but he's not a lead guard at this stage of his career. The Knicks desperately need a point guard, especially one that can pass the ball and throw lobs to Mitchell Robinson. Hayes is the best case scenario for the Knicks on draft night, but more than likely Killian Hayes won't be there at number 8. The Pistons more than likely will take him at 7, so if Hayes is gone, the Knicks should roll with Kira Lewis Jr., a 6'3" point guard out of Alabama. Kira Lewis put up great stats for Alabama this year, averaging 18.5 points and 5.2 assists, while shooting 46% from the field, 37% from 3, and 80% from the free throw line. Those are amazing shooting splits. Kira Lewis Jr.'s best attribute has to be his incredible burst. He's very fast and has a quick first step, which allows him to beat his man off the dribble at will. At the rim, Kira is a great finisher. He doesn't have an incredible vertical, so he's not dunking on people, but thanks to his touch and good layup package, he shot 58% at the rim for Alabama, which is a great finishing percentage. With Kira's athleticism and skills with the ball, Kira should be able to drive and finish at the hoop the second he laces up in the NBA. Thanks to Kira's shooting ability, he forces defenders to play honest defense on him. As stated before, he shot almost 37% from the three-point line for Alabama. Kira's shooting ability complements his driving ability so well. Defenders can't back off of Kira to stop his drive because he could easily just pull up and knock down the open jumper. This forces his defender to play honest defense on him. The ability to both shoot and drive really well will make Kira a good inside and outside scorer at the NBA level. The next great point guard skill that Kira has is his passing ability. Now, he isn't a LaMelo Ball or Killian Hayes level passer, but he can pass the ball pretty well. When he breaks down the defense and draws help defenders, he's willing to find the open man, and he usually dimes them with good accuracy. He can drive and dish, but he could also kick the ball out to outside shooters when he gets in the paint. With his scoring and playmaking ability, I believe he's someone that can make an impact right away, while also having the upside to be an all-star level guard. The Knicks are desperate to get themselves a penetrating and facilitating point guard. If I was the Knicks GM, I'm taking Killian Hayes with that 8th pick, and if he's not there, I'm taking Kira Lewis Jr. These aren't flashy picks, but these two would both be great additions to the Knicks' young core of RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson. Now that I've talked about who I would draft, I'm going to briefly talk about some other prospects that I really wouldn't take with the 8th pick, and I'm going to explain why. The first guy I'm going to talk about is Tyrese Haliburton. Haliburton is a 6'6" point guard that a lot of Knicks fans are extremely high on. He's an unselfish player, he's a really good defender, and he did shoot the 3-ball really well in college. The reason why I wouldn't take him is because I'm of the belief that the Knicks need a point guard that can get into the paint and create baskets for his teammates. Haliburton isn't explosive, and he doesn't have a great handle to create off the dribble. Haliburton is good in the catch and shoot, but because of his funky mechanics, he can't shoot off the dribble, which makes him a lot easier to guard. In the NBA, this will make it a lot more difficult for him to run the pick and roll. Team defenses will just use drop coverage and take away the role to the big man by leaving Haliburton open to shoot. According to Hoop Math, Haliburton shot 29% off pull-up jumpers, which makes it clear that he has absolutely zero pull-up game. For these reasons, I see Haliburton as a poor fit considering the Knicks team needs. Haliburton projects as a good defender, but he isn't someone that's going to move the needle on offense. The Knicks don't need a point guard that can't create his own shot off the dribble. It's fine having a low usage defensive point guard when you have Luka Doncic in your backcourt, but the Knicks don't have that. They need a point guard that's going to move the needle. The Knicks already have a similar player to Haliburton and Frank Ntilikina. I'm sure Haliburton will be a good pro, but if I'm the Knicks GM, I'm passing on him. The next guy I would pass on if I was the Knicks is Cole Anthony. Now, Cole's draft stock has taken a huge hit over the past year. He was once a projected top 5 pick, and now he's projected by many mocks to go in the mid-first round. I believe Cole showed some flaws at North Carolina that really should keep the Knicks from taking him with the number 8 overall pick. Cole put up 18.5 points, 6 boards, and 4 assists a game, which is impressive, but he only shot 38% from the field, which is pretty bad. To be fair, Cole's teammates were also really bad and struggled to shoot from the outside, so he didn't have a lot of spacing. It's very difficult to determine how much of Cole's percentages was due to his teammates being crappy or him just being a chucker. He also had a low assist average at just 4 assists a game, and he turned it over just as many times as he dropped a dime, which shows that he struggled as a playmaker. I do like Cole's abilities as an outside shooter and a shot creator, and the fact that he's highly competitive. But for the Knicks, I think they need a point guard that's going to be more of a distributor. The Knicks need a point guard that's going to make guys like Mitchell Robinson a lot better, and Cole projects as a score-first point guard that'll probably struggle with his decision-making and shot selection when he enters the league. I do think that Cole will become a pretty good pro if he fixes his weaknesses, but I think Hayes and Kyra are way better players and will be better additions to the Knicks' young core. The last prospect I'm going to talk about is Devin Vassell, and I'm going to try to keep this brief. Vassell is a great 3-and-D prospect that has been shooting up draft boards as of late, but the Knicks need to pass on him simply because of how desperate they are to fix their point guard situation. There will be other 3-and-D players that will be available later in the draft, such as Desmond Bane, for example. It's going to be a lot harder for the Knicks to find themselves a long-time point guard than for them to find themselves a really good 3-and-D guy. So for that reason, I wouldn't take him with the 8th overall pick. So guys, that's going to be the end of the video. Those are the guys that I would take, and those are the guys that I would not take. Do you agree with this? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and sub, and enjoy the rest of your day.